Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review the new horror film coming to Shudder, Baghead. And this is from director Alberto Corrado, and this is based off of a, I believe, short film version of this film. And this focuses on this high-concept idea of a shape-shifting entity living in the basement of a haunted pub that for 2 minutes will allow you to speak to your old past loved ones and or enemies. I guess it depends on who you want to talk to, but this particular film centers around Iris, played by Freya Allen, whose father, played by Peter Mullen, was the previous proprietor of this pub, who for years has had this shape-shifting entity in his basement. They're estranged. She takes this on, and the second she becomes the owner of this place, this shape-shifting entity latches on to her, and evil ensues. And this film certainly has a creepy atmosphere, creepy visuals. The Baghead entity's design with the burlap sack and like the creepy, disgusting fingernails and all that kind of stuff, it works. This basement, well designed, creepy as hell. All that comes together. There's some moments that are chilling and unnerving. It's the atmosphere this film builds up. There are some moments of like special effects that aren't the strongest. Fire's hard to make work when you have a low budget. But in general, I think the atmosphere works. The film does a fine job of setting up Iris as somebody with this baggage, and Alan does a fine job. Mullen, whenever he's on screen, does a great job of just bringing a weight to this film. And their dynamic is the heart of the film. But then you have Katie, the best friend, Ruby Barker's character, who's so much just a cliche of like, she's the one like, don't do that. And then the one that goes to this creepy place to find a bunch of exposition about everything. This film has a great setup. And it shows you things early on. And you're like, okay, this has potential. But then, as the film goes on, it gets bogged down in these cliches and these elements of storytelling that are so on the nose and blunt and just boring. The film still is well paced, as this is only like 94 minutes, and it's moving along. But then you get to the third act, and there's a character, Neil, played by Jeremy Irvin, who's like, feels less like a character and more of a catalyst for a lot of the stuff that's going on. And he becomes way more of a focal point for shock value. And this film kind of skirts away from any of like the real human aspect of like this father-daughter relationship, throws it out the window just to replace it with some shocks. And, ooh, it's one of those kind of horror endings, and you're just feeling unsatisfied because it doesn't pay off the emotional elements that the film builds up, and the character moments. It's just like, oh, wouldn't that be crazy? And that's what it does with the climax of its film. And in the end, you're just kind of left there thinking like, was all this just to lead up to this particular moment of like shock, surprise, twist? And it kind of feels that way, and it feels hollow by the time you get to the end, which is pretty disappointing. But in the end, this is like, if you like horror films, it's there, it's on Shudder, you'll find some good things in it. But it just never feels like it follows through with the elements that makes this feel poignant and impactful that it did set up, but just chooses to go in that more tropey horror kind of approach that is like, ooh, we gotta get one last one on you. And it does it, and it just doesn't feel that satisfying. But those are my thoughts on Baghead. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.